Sorry, I ran a little late. I apologize. And everything.
Okay.
Work just threw me for a curve.
Okay. So what do you want to talk about, Chris?
Well, we were
leave
because they changed the dashboard too. So
you were talking about hope yesterday, Carla.
I know, and you know what? Right before this call, I had hoped to actually dive into John Maxwell's book and get in the moment of hope, and then a customer called, and hope went out the window. But that's okay. No,
we moving forward.
We were. I've actually talked to a few people about hope, and a lot of people with all the mess going on these days, they've lost hope.
Well, that's pretty sad.
People's mental health have been so affected by what's been going on with this pandemic and restrictions one day, no restrictions the next. What's it going to be? That kind of thing. And so many people have been impacted with jobs and financially. There's a lot of people that can't see past today.
Yeah.
But there is hope in this world. And there's plenty of us out there that believe that there is, and we have to be the light for people to give them that opportunity that today we're going to deal with today, tomorrow we're going to deal with tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. You know, I have to agree with that because there's too many people that get wrapped up in their problems at the moment, and a lot of it, I have this thing that I do every day. I take my list of things I need to get done. And if it isn't something that has to be done immediately, I throw it up to the universe. Because you know what? More often than not, if you throw it up to the universe, 98% of the time, it's going to get resolved by the universe. And you don't have to worry about it. It's going to resolve itself. You know, why are you taking all of this energy out of yourself when you can't even resolve it anyway? So, you know, people just get too wrapped up into that. So.
Well, people get so wrapped up in all the different things that they have to do, let alone the life struggles. They might have and I talk to people about this all the time about overscheduling themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that if you can block schedule your day, you know, that like Sandy and I, we have a particular time during the day we do our business, and at 12 o'clock we go for a walk, or at 1 o'clock I let go out with the dogs or whatever. My whole day is structured to where I cannot overplan.
Right.
And sometimes you get so many things on your list that you are in this tailspin because you're like, oh my God, how am I going to get it done? And you can't even think clearly to get it done, let alone 3 things. And I used to laugh when they used to say, make sure that you always have something left on your list for the next day. I said, oh, absolutely no problem with that. And so I've gotten to the point where I go, okay, what are the 3 things I want to do today?
Right.
What things do I have to get done? And that's it. I'm not going to stress about it.
Fair enough.
You know, along those lines, you know, there's what is the corporate training program that's out of Philadelphia? I can't even think of the name of it right now. But their whole thing is, you start your day, you make your list of all the things that you believe that you can get done that day. Nothing outside of that. You work that list, you scratch them off, give yourself a little yeehaw by scratching it off, and then whatever's left over at the end of that day, you put it at the top of the list the next day, and that's what you work on first. And you start to, and after a while, you actually start managing your time to where you're not putting stuff on the list that day that you can't handle. And I think that's a lot of what you're talking about. People try to tackle way more than they're able to. And that's not good. And my battery's about to die, so hold on. I'll be right back.
Chris, you know I've got to leave at 12:30. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I've got a huge phone problem, and it's very frustrating. I've already been to a phone store yesterday, and I got to go to the Apple store today.
Ooh, good luck with that.
Product?
I can't make any phone calls, Chris. I can text.
No way.
All sorts of other
incoming calls.
Every time I try and make a phone call, it says call failed. And, I took it to the place where I bought it yesterday, and even the guy that works there, and he's really good, he got frustrated because I phoned TELUS
When they get
initially and I needed a new SIM card. He put a new SIM card in, it didn't do anything.
Wow.
Can you make calls? Can you receive calls?
No,
No,
can't
wow.
receive calls, can't make calls. I can text.
Oh man.
Text. I can check out any of the other apps I have on my phone. I can do, lots of it. The only thing I can't do is I can't make phone calls. Oh, hello, Lisa.
Hi.
Hello, Lisa.
How are
So
you?
at least I'm not the only one running late. So I hope that I'm okay.
Well, when I first got on, I got in a different room and I texted Sandy and she goes, "How come I can't see you?" And I'm like, "Oh, they changed the dashboard." I got so used to Chris starting the calls all the time. I need to up my game here. Yeah.
And this is the team I joined.
And now you see behind the curtain some days, Patrick.
I know, right?
I'm going to leave that alone.
You can't say we don't have fun, okay?
That we do.
Yeah.
Always have fun. Always. It's always a lot of laughs.
Yeah.
Life is too short not to be having fun. So, you got to have laughs, especially in this.
That's
So
true.
Let me ask you this then, Sandy. How does hope play into your day to day?
She don't sit her phone will get
I hope that whoever I see in the Apple store can figure out what's wrong. I think in the very end, what I might have to do is get a new phone, but I need to find out if that's the situation. If it is, I'm going to go back to the guy that I was with yesterday because that's where I always buy my phones. I'm not buying it in this Apple
How old
store.
is your phone?
It's not that old. It's a few years old. It's an iPhone 8.
Yeah.
Oh, that's ancient for today. That's like.
Are you getting a 12?
Well, I'll probably get an 11 or 12. Yeah, if I get a new phone.
What do you have now? A 9 or a 10?
It's an 8.
Oh, in the iPhone world, that thing is ancient.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, I have an Android and it's a 10, and my son is going, that phone's going to crap out on you.
Well, it's been really good until now. I mean, I've never had a problem with it.
Well,
I haven't.
We hope everything works well for you.
Patrick, I'm just going to have to, I've got to go downtown because unfortunately there was an Apple store very close to me that I could actually walk to. They are totally rebuilding that shopping center. And there's basically nothing left in it. The area that was the parking lot and part of the stores is a big hole in the ground. So I'm not even sure exactly what they're doing with this property.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's just, because when I was at the store yesterday, he said, "Well, isn't there a place at Oak Ridge?" I said, "Yeah, but Oak Ridge doesn't exist anymore. Like it's just not there." So that's why I take the train downtown. And I already phoned Yale, and he'll come and he'll pick me up afterwards.
Yeah, definitely, Sandy. We are hoping and praying that the phone gods put the good mojo onto the phone. Say, "We need good phone now."
That and a rainstorm.
Yeah,
Yes, we also need some rain here. We haven't had rain in Vancouver for 2.5 weeks, and that is really, really, really unusual.
That is unusual. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we have over 200 forest fires raging here, and they have burned whole towns. It's absolutely horrible. It is so hot and so dry. I mean, in the summer we get, some days that are in the mid to high 20s, but we've been having days in the 30s, and at night it doesn't even cool down. It's cooling down to 20. Oh, whoopee-doo, So and you can't buy an air conditioner because there just aren't any left in the whole city. So, and ours is broken. So we're struggling. We have 2 big Dyson fans. They're enormous, about this big. So I have one in my bedroom, and we just aim it at the bed. The one we have in our den, which is where we watch TV, we just aim it at us. So other than that, but I called my guy. I called him again. Pardon?
Put some ice on them.
Dice. Oh, they're fabulous. Oh, they're fans. They're really big fans. So I phoned my guy.
Vacuum cleaners and the hair dryers, right?
Yeah. So I phoned my guy again yesterday, and I told him, I said, Dom, keep your eyes and ears open, and if you come across, what we need, just buy it and come over and take out the old one and put in the new one. And I said, I don't care if you don't do it till the fall, because he always comes and checks my furnace and heating system and everything for the winter. I said, you can do it in the same visit if that's how things work out. He said, well, if I get one sooner, I'll come sooner. I said, okay, I won't argue with that. Fine with me. So we're just waiting to see what he can find. Because I saw that there were some at Costco. So I said, well, what if I get one at Costco? He said, oh, no, if you get it at Costco, he said, they have companies that put it in. And I know you don't like one of those companies. I said, oh.
They know you, huh?
Well, because one of these companies, their technicians nothing's consistent. You have, somebody comes and they don't know what the hell they're doing. And somebody else comes and maybe they know a little bit what they're doing. I had one guy there who was really good, and I used to have him come and do my furnace every fall. But once the pandemic happened, he quit working. And so, because I've had guys here, honestly, I know more about the furnace than they do.
Wow.
So it's really scary. It is pretty bad, Carla. This company, I don't trust them, just because I had a hot water tap in my kitchen and it was dripping and doing something. So I phoned them and they sent a guy. He made a bigger mess than what was going on. So I phoned the owner of the company. He sent another plumber who actually fixed it, and they didn't charge me for the second visit. But I said, you guys, you need to do something with your technicians because they just are not consistent. They obviously don't have training. I don't know how they decide who they hire, but it's pathetic. So I don't like people coming to my house who don't know what they're doing. Yeah. I have a really good contractor, and whenever I need something, I generally phone Barry because he only hires subcontractors that he thinks are really terrific. And so, if I need an electrician or a plumber, I phone Barry because I know that his guys are fantastic and I don't need to worry. But it's just, so this guy that I have for the furnace, his dad was my furnace guy for years, but unfortunately Rudy died. He had diabetes and he never took care of himself. When he used to come to my house, I would say to him, when did you last eat, Rudy? And he'd kind of look at me, I'd sit down, I'm giving you lunch. His wife used to phone me all the time and thank me because I was worried he was going to pass out in his truck. Wow. He took himself, Carla.
Don't tell me that. Tell me that.
They need to take care of themselves. He, was just busy. Well, I'm busy. I said, I don't care if you're busy, Rudy. You need to eat. It's part of, you have this condition. You need to take care of yourself. He never took care of himself. So unfortunately, he passed away. But the good thing is he trained both his sons because he was brilliant. And the boys are good. So I trust them. I know that when they come, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, I have a family-owned business that comes to my house, too. I know the whole family.
Well, and well, you sort of go through a time. Lately, things have been falling apart. I have two big skylights, and I have these metal blinds that come down to them. So one of them, it wasn't working. So I had the electrician come, and he said, no, it's the motor. So then the company that makes these blinds came and just said, yeah, it's the motor. But then when he tried to fix it, the blind disintegrated. So we kind of lay it back down on there. So I'm waiting for a quote. And, because they got to come, not only they have to fix the motor, replace the motor, they got to replace the whole blind. My husband's having a heart attack.
He's got the dollar signs going through his head. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yeah. But, as I said to the guys from this company, I said, I don't know how old those blinds are because we've been in this house for 18 years. And it was here before we got here. So they've probably been here for 25, 30 years. And, I don't know how long things last, but you can't expect it to last forever. It is what it is. So whatever. Neil's not happy.
Yeah. So Sandy, can we go around the room and ask everybody what does hope mean to them and what it looks like to them? And I would like to facilitate that. Would that be okay with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what it means to me. I think that people who don't have hope have no future. You know, you have to have hope. I mean, people who give up on everything, what kind of a life is that? I mean, I've told you before, you know, life is too short not to have fun and enjoy it. And if you're worried and stressed out and anxious all the time, what kind of a life is this? On top of which, as Carla knows, it's not healthy. It's
No.
really bad for your body. So, you know, you can cause irreversible physiological damage with that kind of behavior all the time. So it's really important to have a good laugh now and then, even with stuff like this. You know, I laugh. I go, okay, yeah, well, whatever, you know. So, such is life. It is what it is. And if you have a solution, or you can have somebody help you find a solution, so there's your hope. You hope that it's going to get fixed. And generally speaking, if you find good people, it will get fixed. So, you know, I mean, I think people who don't have any hope left in their life have a pretty sad life. You know, just not a good way to live. Got to have some hope. Got to look for that light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Patrick?
So hope for me is life. It is a very huge part of what we define as life, the definition of life. Hope has to be a part of that, but it's in everything that we interact with. Even the smallest of things, you know, like every day I hope to see my hummingbirds because they're so fun to watch fighting out here, you know, and outside my desk, you know. It's just little stuff like that that makes a difference in people, because if you have hope, you have an outlet, you have somewhere to go. If you don't have hope, you've hit a road bump. You're not going anywhere. If you don't have hope, you're stalemate. So it's what really propels us and keeps us moving forward. And because, you know, we're all going to die. There's no shape around that. It's going to happen. So until it happens, let's have hope, and that's what makes the most of our lives in the end.
Yep.
And then for me, hope is hope is something that you believe in to look forward to better things to come. So you have to have hope in things that you do, so that you're, like Sandy was saying, the light at the end of the tunnel. It really is just something that you have to have, like Patrick was saying, in everything that you do, so that, you know, you keep wanting and believing that things will get better.
They usually do if you have that attitude.
That's
You know,
right.
The only thing we have control over in our lives is our attitude.
Mhm.
You know, you wake up in the morning and you go, oh, it's going to be a bad day. You'll have a bad day. You wake up in the morning and say, this is going to be a great day. No matter what comes your way, you'll deal with it and you'll have a great day. It's just, you know, it's how you approach your life. So whether you look at it with hope or you just look at it with a positive attitude, again, life is too short not to be having good things happening. And we can make good things happen. It's just a matter of deciding.
Exactly.
Well, it's one thing to say, I hope I'm going to have a good day. It's another thing to take that a step forward and say, I'm going to have a good day.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a good day.
Right.
This is
Exactly.
Yeah, hope has to translate into action. Because you
Exactly.
can sit and hope all day, but
Hope is the belief.
Only as good as what you do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
I have a friend right now that this part. I'm sorry, I'm on a laptop, so it's in my lap, and that's why it's shaking, because I'm very animated. But every day, all she does is complain about the job she's in. She's got a son that passed away from drugs. She's got a son that's in jail due to drugs. And the poor woman has lost hope. And I'm trying every day for her to find some shred of hope, and I'm not having success. And it's hard, because you can just tell she's just giving up. And what she's doing is going to work every day, waiting to die.
Right.
Well, the work is an escape for her.
Yeah.
During that, I mean, she's already lost a child and she's got one incarcerated, and that's an escape for her.
Because she knows that she's not going to be alive when he gets out of jail. So she's lost her children, and it's really sad. There's other outlets for, dogs and that sort of thing. So she's not completely helpless and useless, but it's tough to see somebody having to go through that.
Right.
And
Guys.
unfortunately, it's her pontificating all the time that hope is lost.
Bye, Cindy.
What? So,
Sandy had to leave.
Well, for hope for me shows up to me through the power of positivity
Go lay
and
down.
the power of possibility.
Go lay down.
And I truly believe in that, because once you embrace the power of possibility and the power of positivity, there's nothing that can stand in your way on anything, whether it be big, small, a molehill, a mountain, whatever. I truly believe in that because, see, I will go back to that very quote from Rocky. I forget which one it was, but I actually put it up on my Instagram at one point. But it's when Rocky is talking to his son, and he's saying that life is going to be the hardest hitter in the round. And he says this: it's not about how hard you get hit, it's about how hard you can take the hits and keep moving forward. And that's the thing. You know you're going to get hit. You know you might be on the ropes, but if you don't get up, you never will take that next step. And if you just literally give up, then not only is all hope is lost, you don't even show that hope to others. And see, that goes right into our very legacy of who we are. And that to me is powerful. If they don't see that within us, then they say, hey, Chris lost all hope, so I might as well just kick in the can now and just say, okay, I'm done too. Why?
Right.
I truly believe that we are put on this earth to do a calling, do a purpose, do a mission. And for me, I want to do my part that can light the way for others. Even though I might be going through the doldrums and I'm just down in the ditch, I'm not going to let that very ditch define me. I'm not going to let the very negativity or the darkness define where I want to go. And I truly believe in that.
Sometimes the people that have gone through the worst things in life have the most hope, but sometimes it takes getting out of that to get there, and then they can help. Then they know how to help others get out of their dark area in life. So sometimes it works that way. And maybe Patrick, your friend, just needs something to focus on, something that she can do. Maybe it's impacting or helping others in a similar situation.
there's
Maybe
one thing
that
I found. One thing I found for her, she loves to color. She loves the adult coloring books. You know what I buy for her all the time? Adult coloring books. And she's a happy clam. So as long as she has little pens and that sort of thing, she's good to go.
That's great.
I get free art. I get free art.
Right.
So. The other thing about hope is that we have to keep in mind is that hope is very infectious too.
Yes.
And we need to load up our syringes with that and go start poking people just like we are with the pandemic, and too bad we couldn't put hope in some of these vaccines, that sure would help. I'm sorry, my dog's now on my lap and it's like jostling stuff.
Hey, I got a doggy daycare going over here. Go on outside, Max. I left the back door open for you guys.
There you go. Awesome. But again, you're absolutely right, Patrick. We can make hope contagious, just like positivity, just like negativity. There's always a natural balance to everything. And if like I said again, if we lose our hope in us, people will see that and they will say, hey, it's going to rain all day today, so I might as well just, pack it up and who cares,
Toss go on outside. Come on, go play.
So
Exactly.
I just really believe, like I said, that is, I'm glad you brought that up. And like I said, it is contagious. And
Yes.
Go ahead.
Did we lose Patrick?
I hope he'll be back.
Log back on. Well, I do positivity quote tiles and things like that first thing in the morning, and people are like, I do it as much for me as I do it for other people.
Right.
Because
Well,
you don't just say, I'm going to be positive. I mean, we need affirmations just as much as other people do.
Uh-huh.
So if I've got something that speaks to me, I'm going to share it with the world.
It's leading
And
by example.
if it helps one person, it helps one person, you know?
Lead by
Mhm.
example.
And, when I think of hope, it's horrible that people go through stuff. We're given a day we're born and a day we die, and it's a matter of what we do with it in between those 2 days, But to me, the test of hope comes from cancer patients and terminally ill patients, because my mom had cancer for 10 years of one sort or another. And she was like, those people are sick and I'm not. And that wasn't her denial. That was her sense of hope, because she goes, if I lose all hope, then I don't like plan B. I don't like the alternative, and I'm not going to go there.
And I think you're right, Carla, that cancer patients are the true leaders of hope, if you will, because I had an employee a few years back, and he was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And prior to that, he had no idea. And basically, you've seen him, he would come in or call or whatnot, and you'd ask him how he was doing, and he would say, I'm great, I'm living the dream. And he would say that, and he was so positive. He was fighting the fight, trying so hard, just trying to keep the hope in him and in his mind, so that he could get through every day. And that's what got him through. And so you're right. I've seen it in patients and other people that I've known that have had cancer. And, the belief is that they'll get better. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. But they still hold strong on that hope.
And when they have to deal with that, I don't have anything to complain about. Yes, I can complain. But really, in the end, it could be far worse. That, maybe I had a bad day or something. I feel sorry for the woman, who lost a child. I cannot, I've got 2 kids of my own in their 30s, and I just cannot imagine the grief and the pain of losing a child.
Right. I can't either.
It's unbearable to me. And I feel for people that are like that. But also to, this woman dealing with a child that's incarcerated, she gave birth to that child. She raised that child. She may feel like, what could I have done differently? She might be carrying around a whole stack load of guilt, thinking, I could have done something differently to make it different, to make this outcome different. I don't know how long he's incarcerated for, but you don't like what your child does, but you still love them, and that's the true test of unconditional love.
Right. So I'm going to go back to what you said earlier about cancer patients. I'm going to take that with a little step further, and I'm a testament to this, okay? Because in 2012, I was supposed to die. I didn't.
Wow.
Because I landed in the hospital with an abscess in my shoulder that I had a full body septic infection for a year and a half.
Oh,
Heavy septic infection for a year and a half. But my body was maintaining it so well, and I just kept fighting it. But here's the funny part. When I went in the hospital, I was a mean son of a bitch. I was not the happiest person in the world. I didn't have a plan in my head. I was concerned about what people thought about me and all this other stuff. When I came out of the hospital, my fear trigger had been, and that's what it comes down to, is fear. My fear trigger had been turned off. Now all of a sudden, I didn't give a crap about what anybody thought. I was having fun because I'm living on borrowed time, for God's sakes.
That's why I like you.
Yes, exactly, right. I faced death, and I came out the other side. And it shook my world. It shook my world up. And it made me realize I got to do something different here. Because, I almost lost the time I had at 36 years old. and I still have much to give. And so let me use it a better way. So I created a hope totem. This dog right here is my hope totem. It's what gets me out of bed every morning. And I think that's what people need to do too, is they need to create a totem or something that represents their hope. So they're constantly reminded of it, because it's something you practice. It isn't something you just do in the morning. It's something you practice all day long.
Right. It's the way you live, and sometimes I think, at least in my opinion, people that have gone through some great tragedy in their life, sometimes when they come out of that, on the other side of it, they are the true leaders of hope, because they have faced problems or tragedies in their life and they have pushed through it. So they know, and they can lead that hope, because they know and they can tell people, hey, things will be better. You just got to keep on moving, keep on trying, keep on going, and things will be better.
Yeah. I have a
So-
friend of mine that's a stage 4 liver and colon cancer survivor, 17-year survivor. She's supposed to be
Wow.
dead right now.
Wow.
And she's one of these people, very similar to Patrick, that just has this whole other outlook on life.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that you can well, you could, I don't want to say you can't, but those people have a so much different aspect on look on life, outlook on life.
Definitely changes the perspective for sure. And so, yeah, it definitely changes. And a lot of people after 9/11, said that their perspective on life had changed.
Yeah.
And you
With
talk to
those-
some people that have gone through the pandemic and, had issues during the pandemic, severe issues, their perspective on life has changed in some cases. I mean, some people have that hope naturally, and, they may not have to go through a tragedy to experience the true test of hope or the true hope feeling of hope. But I think a lot of times cancer patients, people that have gone through other tragedies in their life, I think they were facing death, if you will, quote unquote, facing death. And so it changes their perspective in regards, or if they were in a really dark place, a lot of issues, they have seen the dark, and they found that light at the end of the tunnel. And they can be true leaders of what hope really means and can do for you.
Right.
But I think,
right.
like cancer patients, so hope is not a switch. It can be turned on and off. I think what happens is their hopes change. They get morphed and they modify into different things as a result of their diagnosis. And it's how they handle them is what defines them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wonder sometimes if, the tragedy itself can change your perspective and make you think differently depending on who you are. But sometimes I think, it's like being in a car accident where you maybe almost died or something like that, and you lived. And so it can tend to change your perspective
There,
and
there is
change your,
those life-changing moments, Lisa, and you're absolutely right, Patrick, too, as well. Because for me, at least, what really sees to me in my eyes each and every single time that I see a life-altering event, whether it be, let's say, a 9/11, whether it be a death in the family, whatever that might be, that's really truly life-altering, is how we actually take stock in that and saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to either let this define me in a negative or I'm going to define me in a positive. Now, which way do I choose? And to me, choice is the ultimate path to freedom. And I learned that from Brian Sumner. And it goes back to what Brian sent to us on a call. He did bring up about, in fact, another cancer patient. There was someone in his family, and what happened is they said, "You know what? I am cancer."
Yeah.
You know what? They just took it head on. Say, "I am that." And I believe if we can take that negativity and just embrace it and say, hey, I'm going to spin it into a positive, that's going to be, again, that life altering moment that we can actually take that life altering moment. And you know what? Don't be defined it in that negative way. Take it for what it is and say, you know what? If I deem it negative, I will turn it into a positive. Because if you always seek out the negative and say that you are cancer or you are an amputee or this whatever that might be, you're going to be defining yourself and labeling yourself to such an extent that that will live and leap right into your next day to day, month to month, week to week, and you'll live right into that reality every single day. And people are going to say, well, wait a minute, have you come a long way? Yeah, I kind of have, but this cancer thing's always been in me. Cancer, smancer. Who cares? Life is too abundant for you to say, hey, I am going to go down with cancer.
Yeah.
No.
Right. Right.
I think you
Well,
make a
like
good
Patrick
point.
said, having that hope totem, having something to push through for can
But I
help
think
too.
you
But
you make a very good point though too, is embracing it. Because if you don't embrace your current situation and wrap hope around it, your hope is dead.
Exactly.
right.
It's done.
Right.
It's like hitting this brick wall back here. It's just done. So
Exactly.
Exactly. And it's like, again, what Brian Sumner has taught me so well. If we go into that very negative place, we will leap right into that very reality, whether other people tell us that we're in that negative, that you will not do this and you won't do that. I mean, it's just like with my family. My family has taught me for so many years that I was so selfish for myself that I will never end up being who I was meant to be. Oh, you know what? You got to turn out just like your mother. But you know what she did? At age 33, she took a gun and committed suicide because she didn't love herself enough and have enough hope in herself. And they told that about me, that I was going to end up just like my mother, but twice. And I'm not telling many people this, but I'm going to tell this live on air. There was 2 times in my life that I literally took my life twice because I was defined by that very thing that my parents taught me, that I was going to be like my mother, end up killing myself and not being there because I was so selfish myself. I tried to take my life twice.
so what changed?
Your perspective.
My perspective, I knew I was better than that. I
Exactly.
knew I had a lot more to give than what even my own parents told me that I was going to not be. And I had that mind shift moment. It's like I just can't. I can't be defined by somebody else or what they do. That's not on me. That's on them.
Exactly. And so I'm glad you brought that up, Chris, because there is something that happens a lot of times, and I know parents do this way too often. And I know they don't mean any harm by it, but I think I hear it and people laugh about it, and even the parents will laugh about it when they do it. But it drives me insane is they will tell their kids they're rotten or they're this or that in a negative, it's
That's
a
happened to me.
negative connotation. And it's like, stop that. You should never do that, because if you keep telling them that, then they are going to do that.
Yes.
Mhm.
So anyways, I always try to, when I hear it or I'm around it, instead of making a big stink about it, I will just turn around and tell that child, oh, you're beautiful, or you're so smart and you're great, or whatever it is. I try to turn it around positively, because that is one thing that just totally drives me crazy is, you've got a 5-year-old or a 2-year-old and you're telling them they're rotten. Well, stop telling them they're rotten, because they're not rotten.
Right.
They're wonderful. They're smart. They're children. They're, or even 10-year-olds. You're telling them they're rotten or they're bad or whatever. No, they're not,
Or a 12-year-old
and
if they're fat, you know?
What was that?
Or telling a 12-year-old or a teenager that they're fat or they're ugly and they're never going to have a boyfriend and all this other
Exactly.
It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, is what it is.
Yes.
Because if you tell a kid that they are not smart enough, you know what they're going to do? They're going to give up. They're going to say, you know what? You're right. I'm not that smart. You know, my whole thing is I'm a firm believer that the universe is constantly in balance. And there are things that keep us in check. Karma keeps us in check, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in this universe, if you start putting out bad, guess what you're going to get back?
Bad.
So my goodness gracious, stop doing that. You know, put the good out to the universe because you're going to get good back. And you're going to get it back way more than you ever gave it to the universe. Because the universe will always look out for you. Always.
Mm-hmm. And if you're hanging out with a bunch of people that are pulling you down, you need to cut those strings and move on.
There you go. You got it. Sorry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or
try to uplift them to make them better.
Yeah. Exactly.
But at the same time, they're weighting you down. They're like a hot air. You're like a hot air balloon, and they're the bags of sand.
Good. Yes. Good analogy.
Wow.
Well, it's one thing I always tell my son is don't let them people bring you down. You know, make your own way and make it positive and don't let negative people bring you down. So sometimes you have to be able to brush things off and let them roll off your shoulder instead of weighing them on your shoulder. And so he's 23.
Okay.
And you know, he takes a lot of things to heart, you know, and I for a long time now, I've told him, you know, you just need to let some things go and you can't let it bring you down. You have to put a smile on your face, and guys don't like to smile, but just kidding.
My mom always said, but I'll clean it up. My mom always said, opinions are like noses. Everybody has one.
Yeah.
That's true. That is so true.
What it really is. Yeah. So, it's true. So everybody has their opinion, and and there are a lot of people that shoot people down to make themselves look good.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
because it's the cheap and easy way out, the dirty way out.
It's the dirty way out.
Right.
Yeah. I don't have time for this kind of
exactly.
Go on. Right. So I'm going to go back to this whole universe thing for a second. I'm sorry because I've had a couple calls today. I'm sorry if this is repeat, but you know, one of the things that I practice every day is that I take a look at my list and prioritize it according to what is the absolute most important and what also can I actually change. Right. I got stuff on the list that I cannot affect. You know what I do? Throw it up to the universe. And I'm going to let the universe tackle it because 90% of the time, if I give it up to the universe, it solves itself. Right. I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Right.
Things happen in their own timing. You may have an issue that's right now, and you can't find a solution for it, but a month down the line,
don't beat yourself over it.
Next thing you know, that solution's going to come.
Yep.
Right.
Well, that'll be hope when it does.
Well, I want to share this quick story, and a friend of mine told it to me a number of years back, and it's something that happened to him. When he was 3 years old, of course, that's a very young age, he was having his 3rd birthday. And, of course, you know how birthdays are. Everyone gets so excited about a birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Well, his mother cooked that cake and made it for him and everything like that. But you know what that really changed his life is he ended up stinking one of those kind of like quick licks of the icing and stuff. His mom caught him, and this is what really just threw me for a loop when he told me this. He's like, Chris, this is what really defined my life after that. And I was like, well, what happened? He's like, what she did was literally picked me up by the nape of my neck and literally threw me across to the wall.
Ugh.
And he was like, still to this day, it haunts me and really gets to me because I still remember getting hit by that wall at 3 years old.
Wow.
And he thought at that age he didn't even have no hope because he was so scared. It's like, should I ever take another lick of a cake ever again? Should I be able to? But you got to remember, kids are going to be kids.
Yeah.
Right.
And I just wanted to share with you guys before we go, because like I said, that kind of thing it really can traumatize someone's life if you don't let things be for what it is and say, hey, okay, they just licked a little icing, so what? No big deal. Life
Right.
goes on.
Right.
So,
Right.
So I'm going to expound upon that story. When I was young, my mom made all of our cakes. 5 of us kids. Never had a store-bought cake. Never. Well, I was the last child, so I was always hanging around, right? Yeah, I always got to lick the bowl afterwards. You know what that did for me? I went on to take all of the cake decorating classes from Wilton in Chicago, and I did cake decorating for about 2 years.
Wow.
Nice.
wow.
Because of a positive thing, it impacted me in my life and made me be able to do something for other people.
Right.
That's important.
It is important, and it's all in how we react to things, and instead of disciplining, maybe it was a teaching moment. Maybe he, had to make a cake all over again or whatever. But sometimes it's just all in how we react to things and how we teach people things to make them think in a positive way.
Correct.
Every action we do has an impact on everybody else.
Mhm.
Yes.
And we got to keep that in mind.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep, we do.
Exactly.
It also has an impact on ourselves.
It
Yeah,
does.
oh, absolutely. Yes.
It does.
It does.
A big impact on ourselves and a big impact on that person too.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's as simple as, telling someone they're pretty or telling someone that they're smart or whatever, a child, hey, you're smart, or you're whatever it is. A positive reinforcement can only help them in life and not bring them down,
And
because
that should go continuously throughout our days. It should just not stop at one day. It should always be constant. And for me, that would be my call. That would be my call to action. It's just let that keep going. Let that positivity flow through you to such an extent that everybody gets a part of that in their lives.
It's
And we can.
infectious. It's interesting to see this whole hope conversation. I think a subsequent conversation we might want to think about later on. Are there different types of hope?
That'll be more.
Is there a difference between internal hope and external hope, all that stuff? So throw that out there as an idea.
Types of hope tomorrow.
Types of hope.
There you go. Tomorrow.
There you go.
That we will.
Patrick, I don't know if you were on the call that actually stimulated this talk about hope. Was a book by John C. Maxwell called Change the World.
Okay.
Have you heard of it?
No.
They've got a workbook on it too, but it talks about how if you want to change the world, you need to change yourself.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Very true.
So that definitely be, like I said, my call to action. Spread that positivity and that hope every day.
Well, the thing about it is once you start practicing, it becomes so automatic.
Oh,
that
yes.
Why would you go a day without it?
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember I used to be a mean son of a bitch, but I don't remember how to even do that anymore. I just because I
don't think about it anymore. It's like a part of my day.
Right.
I've forgotten myself, and it's good.
Alrighty, so we're ready to wrap it up for today's call because we got another thing that we got to do today. So, everyone, thank you so much for embracing hope in your day today through us, and hopefully it's going to be a great conversation moving forward for you. please reach out to us. We would love to have that great and engaging conversation with you. And we'll see you tomorrow on Conversation for Humanity, and we'll go and dive right into what Patrick just brought to the table, and we'll definitely go right into that. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here on Sharing Care with Sandy. Sandy, we'll miss you. Hopefully you get your iPhone fixed. Hopefully the phone gods will be go to you and everything. So there's that hope for you guys and everything. So thank you so much, and have a great day, everyone. We got another call to do.
Bye. See you tomorrow.